morning and welcome to the 46th Breakfast Ball. Crazy as that may be. I mean, I feel like we've been, I'm your host, Bob Cardia. To my left, to your far right, the dashing Richie Stoltz. And Richie is back from his awesomely successful European and Asian tour. Great to have you back, man.
Nice. Good to be back. Good to be back.
Good. I was just saying, it seems like we haven't been in studio in 3 years or something like that. It's been 3 weeks, but time flies. It's crazy this time of year with Rutgers and whatnot. And then, as I mentioned, don't mention me minding again.
No.
Richie's family is in Asheville, North Carolina, and I think that I know that doesn't get the coverage it should. In my own personal opinion, if that happened like it happened in New Orleans, it would have been getting pressure or coverage out the wazoo. But how's the family doing, by the way?
They're good. Keep sending prayers out to that area because the whole area is struggling. But
I saw it on TV yesterday. Crazy. I mean, they were showing there's one where a whole family 12 people lived together and 11 of them died. The mudslide just killed me. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. So
I don't know if that's all it is, but it's bad. It's really bad. So anyway, yes, thoughts and prayers out to them. And I don't know if is there I know with Sandy and Katrina and all those, they had Red Cross links to go to donate money and whatnot. I haven't. I could visit, mind you.
Not fully positive. I know my church is sending stuff on the 28th. I'll tell you this is kind of funny. Apparently, the town my mom lives in kicked FEMA out and started rebuilding the town themselves.
Shocking. Government, yeah.
I'll tell you the story behind that later, so we don't waste the time on the breakfast ball. But that was that was a funny story when my mom told me that. I was like, oh, interesting.
Yeah, government. Government does a lot of good things, but getting things done quickly is not one of them. But anyway, so go. God bless. Thoughts, and I think I have mentioned it pretty much every week since. So please give your family my best.
Yeah, we'll do.
Okay, so today we're talking about the next step for improvement. And last week we were talking being aware of muscle tension, tightening muscles, loosening muscles, to get because basically the study showed that if you could tighten all your different muscle groups and then release them, and you do that in a dark room, quiet chair, comfortable, and then when actually you get into the throw of a battle, you're now going to be aware when certain muscles are tight and they're not tight. And at that point, you can learn how to release them. So it was interesting. It's another Harvard study that I come across in Lair's book is chock full of nuggets on stuff like that. So I saw this quote from our boy Xander Schauffele, and since my color printer is not working all that well, let me throw the glasses on for a second. Basically, Xander Schauffele said, all the techniques to stay calm and focused, to control your mind, have really helped me. So, bottom line, if you look at his stuff, he does multiple techniques on how to stay calm. So, I know where Mickelson talked about just breathing, and we're doing a lot with breathing next week. What I'm going to call next week, by the way?
What?
Every breath you take. Say a little. Every breath you take. So, anyway.
Sorry you started singing there, guys.
I know. Sorry, folks, but hey. That's when you get us both back in studio. Crazy stuff happens. All right. Anyway, so today we're talking about the next step. We just talked specifically about tightening muscles, and a lot of this stuff that we're covering today, we've covered it in different various forms at one time or another. Mm-hmm. So, for example, the next step, learning strategies for on the course and off the course. This is on the course stuff, and again, this is all the layer stuff too, but. I want your feedback on if there's anything that you specifically of this list to yourself. So, number one, slow your breathing down as much as possible. Is that something you've tried?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, especially, first tee box in a tournament. Heart starts racing, hands are shaking, knees weak, arms are heavy.
Oh, I know, man. I know. I get that.
Vomit on a sweater already, Mom spaghetti.
Wow.
Sorry.
I'm an M there. So you didn't think I'd get that, did you?
I didn't know if you would.
Oh, yeah. Hold on up him.
But, no, I do the slow breathing, especially right at the beginning of the tournament or maybe if I have a bad hole, I feel like throughout the round my breathing's usually pretty good
Mm-hmm.
until maybe I have a screw up or something. I start to get nervous, mind starts to wander, and then I got to kind of bring it back. And especially at the beginning of the tournament,
Yeah.
first hole, if I'm not breathing correctly, I'm gonna struggle.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a little nerve wracking.
I get that. I really do. You know what I hate in this next one is like Ben Hogan's book, Take More Time Doing Everything. We had my father's memorial tournament a couple weeks back, and I went to the bank to get the money for the box for the raffles and that kind of stuff like that, and I got to the bank, and there was only one teller. It was a line of like 8 people. It took me 30 minutes to get out of the bank just to get change. Okay. Then I hop on 295, and there's an accident. Right. Now, I was supposed to be there by 11. No, 10:30. Right. I got there at like 11:30, and check-in was 11 o'clock. So it was a jamboree and hootenanny. Let me tell you what. And like, we got it all done. My daughter Darby was freaking fantastic, and Candy came and helped out. But like, by the time I got to tee off on the first tee, I was a ball of nerves. Like, if you're playing a competitive round of golf, do yourself some justice. Get there early.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, get there early, because when you're there at the last minute, I mean, I'm not a big range guy anymore because my back's bad. But I like to stretch out. But get there early so you can relax for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, focus on the present, the here and now, not what happened in the past, and not on winning and losing. I know we've talked about that. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Richard. Go.
Me and Bob slightly disagree on this one, to an extent. Focusing on the present, yes, obviously very important. Obviously don't focus on what happened in the past. You can't change it. You can't fix it. It happened. It's gone. There's nothing you can do about it. There's no point in thinking about it because it's pointless at that point. The winning and losing, if you want to get into the debate again, we can. We don't have to, but
I'm just saying those sports psychologists agree with me. Yeah. Richie does his own thing. It's okay.
If you have to, if you have to win the tournament, think of it like football. Hold on, think of it like football. All right, you have a game plan the whole game, correct?
Yeah.
You have a game plan, and at the end of the game, you have to throw a Hail Mary to win the game.
That's something different.
How?
Because thus the term Hail Mary. It's a last-ditch effort. Like
that's what I was in.
If I go like and we're down by one in the conference championship, and I know you need to make a birdie, I'm going to come up and say, Richie, you know what? We got to go for this one, balls to the wall. Let's go. But I'm not going to say like throughout the round, Richie, we're 3 shots behind. You got to step it up, because that's just additional pressure you don't need. Yes, I agree with you. If it comes down to a Hail Mary situation, you need to know that you need to go for it. But that's completely different than throwing a Hail Mary on the first hole.
I never throw a Hail Mary on the first hole.
Okay.
It's only coming down the stretch when I need it.
Okay.
You just completely. You know what?
Hated
I'm
the part,
not going to say what I was going to say.
That's great painting. Okay. Last week's episode, which I did for. By the way, if you heard all the cars in the background, we were in Ocean City. I was down. Once a year we go down to wherever. Last year I think it was Charleston, South Carolina. This year was Ocean City, Maryland. My boys. Shout out to my boys because I know a bunch of them subscribed this past week to the podcast. But trying to find a quiet place in Ocean City, Maryland last week. It was the largest car show I'd ever flippin' seen. Like I went from 12th Street to 100 and something Street. There there were thousands of cars there. So I did my best, folks. I sat next to the pier and I did my best. But yes, the point being, last week was tension, right? Yeah. If you tighten your face muscles and you loosen them, then if you do that repeatedly in a quiet situation, now when you're in competition, you go, oh wow, my face is tense, because that layer thing, right? Jawbone, like that weightlifting, speed running, people that tighten their jaw don't perform as well. It sends out a response throughout the body, which again is interesting. If you get into trouble focusing on the target, we do a lot of pre-shot routine, and I think the greatest advice I've given people is on a pre-shot routine is focus on the target, because then the stuff around you doesn't seem to matter as much, right?
Yeah. This one, I always find it funny when we're giving a golf lesson and you tell someone to pick a specific target. Well, I'm not hitting that. It's like, well, okay. You know, I love telling this story. U.S. Open qualifier last year. I played with one of the members at the course for one of the practice rounds, and the guy asked me, he's like, "Where are you aimed here?" And like 350 yards away, there's a tree, a huge tree trunk. I'm like, I'm aimed at the right side of the tree trunk, and I hit it, wham, right in line. The thing bounced right in line with the right side of the tree trunk, and he looks back and he goes, "Wow, that's incredible that you guys can hit the ball right where you try to." And I turn back at him and just chuckle, and I'm like, "Yeah, that never happens." But because I'm focused on that specific target, I have a much better chance of not missing it any further. I'm not worried about what's right, what's left. I'm only worried about that one target.
I would have said, "What, you can't?" What's wrong with you? Yeah, I'm Richie Stoltz. Damn it, that's what you should say. Right. I love it. So I had a student this week. Great. I won't use his name. We were working on target, and I said, "Okay, what's your target?" You know what? Because I don't want to work on target because I want to work on my swing first. And I kind of understand that, but I said, in what world does that work? I want to go bowling today. I want to work on bowling, but not throwing the ball down the lane, just my form. Where's that ball going to go? Okay. I want to play basketball today, but I'm working my jump shot, but I really don't care if it goes towards the basket. I want to work on soccer today, but I'm not going to kick on the ball towards the net. The fundamental principle of the sport is to get the ball in a certain spot. And that should be priority one, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, just saying. And then the last one that and this is a hybrid of different things, but it's in Larry's book mainly, is Stay Positive, which, again, it seems like such a simple, actually, Remember Your Finest Hour is the last one. But finest hour is basically taking the greatest moment or achievement of your life and focusing on that. You know, like I said that one time where I holed out from 100-something yards in front of a big crowd. That try to relish on that. Okay. But stay positive, back to that, is it seems so stupid, right? Stay positive. But like it really, you get what you think, right?
Yeah. If you're not positive, there's a lot of people I can have this conversation with. I'm sure you can think of a couple. There's a lot of people we can have this conversation with. Back to the Remember Your Finest Moment. This is a conversation I mentioned to you earlier. I was teaching one kid, Danny.
Yeah.
Really good high school player I got, and he told me, he's like, what do I do when I get this, when I get 113, I feel like I get that number all the time, and I hate that distance.
Yeah, 13's bad now.
Yeah, 113.
I know.
Yeah, but I look at him, I'm like,
is it a Friday?
Don't you love 113?
Oh yeah.
And he goes, no, I hate it. And I go, no, you love it. He goes, no, like every time I get 113, I can't hit it. And I go, no, you love it.
Yeah, exactly.
And he goes, he just like looks at me weird, like, what? No, that is your favorite number.
Right.
That is your favorite number. When you get 113, you're upset when you get 114 because it's not 113.
Right.
And he's like, oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah. I'm like, yes, remember your finest moment. I'll never tell you I missed a 1-foot putt. It never happened in my life.
Won't be neither.
Yeah,
never.
It's never happened.
Nope.
It's never happened. Mm-hmm. Now, Pat will tell you all day long it has.
Yeah.
But it's never happened. Same thing. I never have a distance I don't like. Like, he even asked me, he's like, what distance is your least favorite? I'm like, I don't have one.
One of the furthest from the buffet.
Yeah. But, yeah, that's just me and Danny had that conversation, just trying to get him to love, every number when he gets it, opposed to being scared of one.
Yeah, man, I love that. That's it. Yeah, and that's great, because I'm going into quote number 2, and again, my color printer is a little off today, but I like to read about different disciplines. To become a champion requires a condition of readiness that causes the individual to approach with pleasure even the most tedious practice session. So that's what basically we're talking about. Like, if you don't like that number, right, learn to love that number. Okay, and it talks about Bruce Lee. It said Bruce Lee felt strongly about mental poise and emotional control, and he thought they were very closely linked. He warned, it's the relaxation of the muscles not the mind or attention, which I like that too. Is relax. It doesn't mean relax. I mean, you keep the mind and your attention focused. You're working on relaxing the muscles. That's a lot of the like the martial art discipline for sure.
Yeah.
But and this is from Bruce Lee stuff, but Mike Tyson also, one of the quotes that we did not too long ago, is the same thing. Perseverance and being great is all about, right, learning to love things like that are tedious, tricking your mind into thinking, hey, boy, 500 push-ups is great, or hitting a ton of 113-yard wedges is great. That's how you accomplish, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now this last thing, I stumbled across this. We do a lot. Richie and I do a lot with junior golf, and we're the oldest golf school in New Jersey. We're pushing 45 years of existence, so we've been around longer than any of us. But I saw this on the First Tee website, and I found it interesting because it attaches what we do with what Laird and Valente and Rotella do, and also brings into perspectives. So, first thing it says is always give your best effort, and that just links right back to what we talked about. Like, even if your mind is like mush that day, like not happy today, the Yankees blew one last night, blew it, right? And I go to bed late, get up early, and we have a lot to do today. We're leaving this. We have our Rutgers team meeting in like an hour and a half. So then we have team practice, and then I'm going to go through my whole day. But at that point, you can maybe lose a little intensity, but always give your best effort. Always, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you don't give your best effort, you're not going to play on our starting squad.
That's the truth.
Let's be honest.
Number 2, it says always give back to your community. Which community? Philanthropic or whatever. I get that, and that's true. But again, I watched Denzel Washington. You ever watch his stuff?
I've watched it. I'll
tell you what.
Not a whole lot, but yeah.
He's a great actor, and he's also like this perspective on life. He said, you know what he said. The most selfish thing you can do.
What?
The most selfish thing you can do is give to others. He said, because the feeling you get giving to others makes him feel so stinking good that he feels he's selfish for when you do something. I remember when I was in college, I was in charge of the philanthropy, and we went into a children's hospital with one of my pledge brothers. His name was Doc, I believe, and we went in there, and he was dressed up as the Easter Bunny. Those kids, I don't remember the particular affliction they had, but I mean, just to see how happy those kids got was like overwhelming. I was surprised at my reaction to it. Now, on the team, right? Helping teammates and seeing them get better. Or are you helping players, me helping players? Giving your time to watch them grow as people and as players. Like, that's, I love it. That's what we do, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Number 3, always practice positive self-talk. Which we always say, if it were easy,
everyone would do it.
Everyone would do it. And I know because they say it all the time, but like it's so true. And then the last one, take ownership and responsibility for your actions. I know, right?
So,
please.
I had touched kind of on these two, 3 and 4, with the Rutgers team last Friday when I was there with them.
Yeah.
They always practice positive self-talk. I told him, I was like, every time you guys get aggravated, you guys get mad, I hear you guys, say whatever. Every time I ask you guys, like, forget it, move on, don't let it bother you. They always tell me, yeah, it's out of my head.
Yeah, right. And then I'll pull up the car the next hole and be like, oh, shoot up your last hole, coach. Like, yeah, no. My responsibility is, can you change it? And then freaking no.
I told him, I was like, I can see it. Like, I'm not blind. I can see it still in your head. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not, you can tell me all day long that it's out of your head. It's not. I can tell.
Yeah.
Like, I can see it.
Yeah.
And then to take ownership and responsibility. This one, almost like a parallel to it for the Rutgers kids. I talked about not letting things you can't affect bother you. or you
Yeah.
can't change,
You
or
can't,
you can't,
Yeah.
you can't do anything about it. So like you hit a shot and it, bounces off a cart path and
Yeah.
kicks right. Don't hit the cart path. Don't hit the cart path.
Yeah.
Just take ownership of the fact that you hit a tree and it bounced out of bounds. Don't hit the tree. Or stuff like that kind of goes alongside with taking ownership. Again, I think it's a little bit of a parallel, but allowing yourself not to let that stuff bother you, and again, just owning the fact that maybe you didn't hit the best shot, and that's why you got an unlucky bounce.
Yeah.
Because rarely ever do you get an unlucky bounce in the fairway.
Yeah, rarely.
I'm not going to say never, but rarely.
Well, we had, I won't use the last name. I won't even use his real name. We'll just call him Mikey. Okay. On our team, I don't know, probably 5-6 years ago. And he didn't like our home golf course.
Mm-hmm.
And he would anytime the ball went in the rough, he'd be like, "Oh, there's another, so live from this place," and like he would badmouth the golf course constantly. And it kind of goes back to number 2. Then other kids started to do it, like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, I hate this place," da, 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 da. And like, let me tell you what, it's the inverse of always giving back to the community. You're actually, and this is what you used to say about the B team, they had a negative mindset because it was, or on 18, which you should clearly almost never go 4-2. He'd go 4-2 all the time, and like, the numbers would be horrendous. And one of the reasons why he was on the B team.
I'm just saying I went for it in 2 on Friday. I had 150 yards.
Well, and the thing is,
Not too shabby there,
more
right?
skilled player. Yeah, no, well, yes, we played it on the other day with the 40-mile-an-hour winds.
Mm-hmm.
So both, actually, I was proud of both JT and Jared were less than 200 yards in, and it was downwind. And no, I say downwind, folks, like 30 miles an hour downwind. The pin blew out on 16. Like, it was like ridiculous. And the coach is downwind. Do you think I should go for it? I'm like, nope. And why? I'm like, I'm confident with this wind you could get there with some relatively easy iron.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's a narrow green over water without a bounce behind it. Like, what are the odds stopping that ball, right? And like, oh yeah, right. Like a good spin stop. So they both laid up, and like, yeah, that's the way. Yeah. Like,
It's just funny to me because it's downhill after the green to the out of bounds.
But like that didn't occur. Like, wow, we can really get to the green today. And I'm like, yeah, 30-mile-an-hour wind behind you, narrow green over water without a bounce in the back. How are you going to stop it? And they're both like, oh yeah, how are we going to stop it?
I think it was Reed who asked me last time, which I was actually proud of him for asking it and not just doing it. He asked me, he was like, he had maybe 180, 190.
Yeah.
And he was like, do you think I should go for it? And I'm like, do I think you should or can you?
Yeah.
And he was like, well, can I? And I go, yes. Should I? No.
Yeah. 7 out of 10 times.
I think it was Reed. I might remember incorrectly, but I think it was Reed. And it was just like, you might get it there. Like, you saw my ball. I was like 40 yards up ahead of him.
Yeah.
I think he hit a 3-wood off the tee, which I was also proud of.
Yeah, right.
But
Actually,
I was...
kids should just go 5-iron wedge. Right.
But it was just one of those, quick talks we had of, even if you get it over, your only shot from here, if we're going to try and play it safe and get it over this water, is to the left side of the green. And if you go to the left side of the green, you're going to 3-putt. Because that green's impossible from left to right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? From the one side to the other side, it kind of looks like this.
Yep.
So you get it over the peak of the hill and it just keeps rolling the other way.
Yep.
So I was like,
Well,
what's
we
the
saw
point?
Peak
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah, grab a wedge,
Yeah.
lay up, hit another wedge, get it on the correct side of the green below the hole, try and 2-putt. Get out of there.
we saw Johnny the other day, man. He's like, he reached it in 2. He's on the far left side of the green. This green is like 50 yards wide.
It's
narrow and
it's a big green.
Yeah, it's a big green. He's on the left side. I hit the green at 2, and you can see he's all pumped up, walking. And yeah, okay, good luck at that putt. And that did he 3 or 4 putt that? I have no idea. It's like, okay, it doesn't make a difference, but you get my point. Anyway, so good. A lot to think about today, folks. Next week we're gonna talk about breathing, and like I said, next week is gonna be every breath you take. Every breath you take.
Speaking of breathing, I think I have a deviated septum. I can barely breathe sometimes, man. It's
I
brutal.
know, yeah. You have a sinus thing, right?
Yeah.
You ever see a doctor about that?
No.
I
No.
would.
Yeah. Then good advice.
Thank you.
That's next week.
Next
Breathing
week.
and go see a doctor if you have a deviated septum.
Yes. And also, as always, if you like what we're doing, please subscribe. Okay. Again, if you say "I love the breakfast bowl" in the comment section, you will get. Well, you've been drawing for a Starbucks gift card. I think I gave Toby one last week. I think, but he's always the first one on it. He's great. The new store, right? You saw the swag I was wearing last week, folks, and you gotta wear your shirt next week. Okay, I gave you the.
Yes, I forgot.
That's okay. And then, as always, if you turn to be rich and famous after watching this podcast and you feel like we've helped you,
We get 10%.
we get 10%. We need
You know,
10%.
I taught a guy this past week. He plays in the minors for baseball.
Kind of dark down there.
And
Oh, he plays in the minors, not with the minors.
in the minors. And I told him, I was like, just remember when you're rich and famous, we get 10%. He goes, well, if I get rich and famous, it's not going to be with golf. Just remember,
Yeah,
we don't discriminate.
exactly.
Yeah.
We're inclusive.
Yeah.
We are.
Win the lottery. Guess what?
I got no problem with that. No
Right?
problem. Yeah, of course.
I'm in.
All right, folks. We will see you next week. I'm your host, Bob Cardia. To my left, to your far right.
The dashing Richie Stoltz.
Peace.
Glass of bourbon, ha. My bourbon, ha. My bourbon, ha. Alcohol. Because no great story ever started with, I'll have a salad.